Thank you. Any questions? Okay, Philip Kingston. Philip Kingston, he's not present. Greg Susser. No? What is your name?
Jonathan Lewis.
Go ahead.
Good evening, Chair, Chair member, committee members. My name is Jonathan Lewis. I'm with the Center for Public Policy Priorities, and we're here in opposition of the 4 bills that Senator Creighton has introduced. So I wanted to start off with dispelling this myth that people see small businesses as evil. I don't think anyone in this room testifying against these bills sees small businesses as evil. I think we're here to challenge businesses to provide good jobs. That's all workers want, are good jobs. These good jobs protect their employees, and what you've heard tonight is a lot of great businesses, small and large, that are already doing that. And we are so grateful for those employers. However, there are still 40% of Texans that do not have access to paid sick leave. And the list goes on of all these things that would be preempted under all these bills. There are a lot of employers that are already providing all of this for their employees, but there are a lot of working Texans that do not have these protections. And so I would urge you, if your goal here is to create uniform policy, to eliminate patchwork, why are we not working on statewide paid sick leave? Why are we not working on other statewide bills that would protect Texas employees? There's some good bills that have been filed out there that I would encourage you to look at, because we would be all for that, working with you on statewide protections for workers. And again, I think you've heard from a lot of great businesses here that are all doing these things already. But the ones you haven't heard from are the ones that are not here. And just to kind of push back on some of the things that have been said earlier, they talked about the process here in Austin with paid sick leave. There was a very long process of deliberation that went into that bill. And there was a study that looked at the cost of paid sick leave for businesses. This study found that it would cost an employer, for the average employee that does not currently have paid sick leave, it would cost about $8 a week per employee. Now, and that comes out to 20 cents an hour if you do the math, which to me seems like a pretty insignificant cost to provide a pretty valuable service or benefit to your employees. So the fact that people say that it's cost prohibitive, well, I would say that those businesses might have some other issues that they should address if 20 cents an hour is going to put them under. Again, I spoke about this last time. We talked about paid sick leave, but public polling shows that people wildly support paid sick leave, which again goes back to maybe we should work on a statewide paid sick leave bill rather than preventing the local governments that are responding to local needs from doing that. With that, I would close. I hope that you guys would consider opposing these bills, or at least working on some other bills that would protect statewide workers.
Thank you. Senator Creighton.
Madam Chair, thank you, and members. And I just want to say I appreciate your testimony, and I agree as well that as Senator Menendez has offered legislation that would consider a policy like that's exactly my point with these pieces of legislation. This is the proper jurisdiction and has always been the proper jurisdiction for consideration of those policies, and the process itself will work as it should on behalf of all Texans and their voices coming into this building through their elected representation. But the patchwork and the piecemeal, city to city and inconsistent regulation to inconsistent regulation by jurisdiction is a job-killing initiative, and we just can't allow that to happen. And I appreciate this panel very much. Madam Chair, I also, in response to how it's inexpensive to offer these policies for businesses, I wanted to read into the record just a couple of statistics that I had.
Okay.
For Connecticut sick leave impact, in a survey conducted by the Employment Policies Institute, 30% of businesses surveyed reduced other employee benefits to account for the law. 20% raised prices, and 20% reduced hours and staffing levels. For Seattle sick leave policies, The impact in response to the Seattle law mandated paid sick leave, 16% of businesses raised prices to offset the cost, 18% of businesses reduced hours for employees, and 17% increased the cost of current business benefits to employees or eliminated all benefits altogether. For San Francisco predictive scheduling, 35% of businesses offered less flexibility to employees, 21% offered fewer part-time positions, and 19% scheduled fewer employees per shift. So I just wanted to get that into the record, and I wanted to thank this panel again for being here.
Thank you all
Madam
very much
Chair
for
and
your
members.
input. Much appreciated. Okay, and I still have these two cards. Philip Kingston, no response, and Greg Sassar from the City of Austin, the council member. I think he testified when he laid out the first bill. Yeah, we heard from him. Okay, so no answer on those. All right, is there anyone else who wants to testify on, for, or against the committee substitutes to Senate Bills 2485, 2486, 2487, or 2488? Public testimony is closed.